back, guys, as promised from my last video. Today we're going to be doing a comparison of my 2016 FX4 to my 2016 4x4 Sport Package. Let's do it. So the main differences between these two right out of the gate is the FX4 has a few different features. It has hill descent, which we'll go over. It has 3 different skid plates protecting the bottom of the vehicle, and it has upgraded rear shocks, which actually gives it a slightly higher ride height. Now, if you look at the shocks in the rear of the white F-150, moving from the back to the front, you can see the shock starts in the back of the vehicle. Now, when you compare it to the FX4, there is no shock in the back. It's attached to the front. This is the shock that Ford is saying is a little beefier. It's a little tighter, and it's supposed to be a little better with off-roading, but it's a little less forgiving on the road. It definitely gives you a little bumpier ride, and I noticed that right away in comparison to the white F-150. A lot of people ask if the FX4 is any higher, if it has a higher ride height than the regular F-150s. And I can tell you from my experience, there is a difference. I'm not sure about the front. I think the front's probably the same, if not very similar. But in the rear of the FX4, with the upgraded shocks, there's quite a big difference, and you can kind of see it. The space between the tire and the wheel well is a bit higher than in the regular F-150. And I could really tell this. I took this truck, I took the FX4 to a garage, and I'm not sure what you would call it. There's like a little, looks like a PVC pipe that tells you what the height limit is. And it was hitting the top of the roof, and that was never the case when I would take the white F-150 in. Now, the other thing that the FX4 has that the regular F-150 does not have, it has a little armor protection underneath the vehicle. It has 3 skid plates really. It has 1 skid plate that you can see there under the front differential. It has another right here protecting the transfer case, and then it has a huge skid plate protecting the fuel tank. Now, this is all good if you're going off-road and you're going over some terrain with some rocks. It kind of just gives you a little extra protection. You don't have to worry about puncturing anything or damaging any of the important stuff under here, especially the fuel tank. Just so you can get a comparison, this is the standard F-150, the white F-150 that I have. This is just kind of like a foam pad. This is where that skid plate is on the FX4. That's not going to give you much protection here. There is no skid plate under the transfer case, and you have an exposed gas tank here, which again is no problem. I mean, if you're not going off-roading or you don't plan on going over any rough terrain, that's not an issue, obviously, but you can really see how exposed the underbelly of this is compared to the FX4. Moving on to the inside of the FX4, what the FX4 does have that the standard F-150 doesn't have, off-road capability-wise, is the hill descent control button. If you haven't used this or you haven't seen it, it is pretty impressive, and I would argue that it's the biggest selling point on the FX4 package. It's really impressive. It uses the computer to kind of slow down individual tires as it goes down a hill, and if you see it in action, it's really impressive. It's cool. 4 high, 4 low, and the locked full diff that is used by pulling this whole unit out, and that's going to lock the rear diff and get all the tires spinning at once. But as stated before, that is not a unique feature to the FX4. That comes standard, and again, as far as I know, I could be wrong, but I believe that comes standard in most, if not all, of the four-wheel drive packages for at least 2016. Now, as far as ride quality goes, comparing these two is kind of a matter of personal preference. The FX4 has a stiffer ride. You can definitely feel the bumps more compared to the standard F-150. It's definitely a smoother ride, but it's a little boatier feeling, at least, you know, that's my opinion. Going around corners, I feel like I'm a little more planted in the FX4, but you know, I'm definitely feeling all the bumps in the FX4. This, for like a long road trip, would probably be more comfortable. The standard F-150 is definitely more comfortable overall, but you know, around corners, I'd give it to the FX4. I forgot to mention the last feature of the FX4 comes with a sweet sticker. This is guaranteed by Ford to give you about 10 to 15 horsepower depending on humidity. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching.